welcome. This is the Chef Q&A series, and we're with Kevin from the head chef at the Neptune in Hunstanton. Kevin, can you just briefly describe who you are and your background, please?
Well, basically just a chef, really. Luckily, I'm married to somebody that owns the place, and that works.
How long have you been here?
19 years.
Wow,
Yeah.
okay.
And we're here by luck, because we weren't looking in Norfolk. We got some details of the Neptune by mistake.
Is that how it happened?
Yeah, and it looked nice, and we're here. And we say if we'd have looked at it properly, we wouldn't have bought it with all the trouble that we had at the beginning. But luckily, we ploughed on, and it's been the best decision we ever made.
Oh,
Really. So we love it in Norfolk. It's just fantastic.
Did you have any connection with Norfolk before? No.
No, never been. Never. Well, I got offered a job in Norfolk before the Isle of Wight, where I was, and that was the only time I went to Norfolk.
And so, just talking about your background and probably Jacki's background as well a little bit, where did your inspiration come from? What was it that led you into the professional cooking, and how did it lead you to looking for an opportunity?
So being dyslexic, I was never going to be an academic, so I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was lucky that I worked washing up in a kitchen, and I just liked the environment there. And then went to catering college, failed the catering college exam, obviously, but my grandma said to me, don't worry, people will always need to eat.
True. Wise grandmother.
Yeah. And so I went, oh, maybe. And to this day, I still don't understand why a chef is unemployed, really.
There's always a need there. Yeah.
And then I was just working in Leeds in 4-star hotel, just basically not really that interesting. And then I went to Edinburgh and worked for this chef in the same Hilton hotels. And he'd come from London, and he blew my mind just about cooking and how exciting he made it. And he wouldn't allow any of the chefs to drink on duty.
Wow.
It was
on duty.
Yeah, well, we all drank on duty. That was a given. And so he'd made it so professional, and he just turned my life around.
Created that spark.
Yeah, everybody needs somebody, and he was that person for me. And from then I started making conscious decisions about, kitchens and country house hotels and things.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow. And the Neptune is celebrated for its tradition and quality, and the ingredients that you showcase, and the service that the diners experience. So how would you describe your overall kind of philosophy of the Neptune?
Well, it's basically you buy the best ingredients you can and then try not to mess it up. Is really the truth. But also I want people to feel relaxed. So there's just me and Jacki. So I serve the food as well. So it's never going to be formal if you have a chef turning up as, So I really enjoy the fact that people don't, it takes the stuffiness away from the whole Michelin thing, because not really that important. What's important is that people feel comfortable and enjoy themselves.
This is it, and I think that is a question that we have around what are the misconceptions that people have of fine dining restaurants, and that's probably one of them, isn't it? That when you turn up to a Michelin star place, that it's going to come with this pomp and pomposity and ceremony. And
am I good enough to be in that restaurant?
Exactly, yeah. And what you want actually is to be comfortable when you're spending time with people that you love, and it's an occasion, like you want to be in that comfortable space, don't you, to enjoy yourself.
And it's not a cheap night out,
exactly.
And you don't want people to think, oh God, I wish I'd never spent that money there. You want people to go, I'll spend that money there again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the best feeling when you leave a restaurant. Huh?
So that kind of like level of comfort, and also with the quality of the ingredients that you're trying to showcase, is kind of essentially the core of what it is that you're.
100%,
that makes sense. And we've obviously in Norfolk, we've got our incredible network of farmers, fishermen and producers. How do you go about sourcing your ingredients, and what is it that you look for with your partnerships with suppliers?
Well, the really lovely thing about here is you've got quite a lot of producers that you actually deal with the producer. It's easy enough to buy from suppliers because you can sort of basically buy anything you want anywhere in the world. But when you deal with some producers that rock up on your door and go, these are my mussels, and I go, I know, they're really great. So I don't ever use mussels from anywhere else, and I only use them when they're in season. And John, the guy that gets them, he only gets them when they're ready. So I think September's normally when they start, but I never get them in September. It's always October. But I'm prepared to wait till his mussels are ready because I don't want to get them when they're not.
Prematurely.
Yeah, when they're not ready, or because then you're just buying any old rubbish, really, because they're not at their best.
That makes sense.
And asparagus, I've got a guy that grows asparagus for me. Well, he grows them for a number of people, but he's just really lovely. He used to wash up for me, and he just rocks up with asparagus, and he goes, "I picked you out the best." I'm sure he doesn't. I'm sure he picks out the best for everybody, but it's really, I just really like it. And he's got three cherry trees.
Lovely.
And I get all these cherries, and they're really delicious. And when he used to work for me, I used to get him to stone them, but he hated doing them. So he used to get his wife to stone them, and I'd get them already stoned. So I'm just thinking, I think that like there's a story behind the food, and it's just really lovely. And the quality's got obviously the most important thing, but I love the story really.
Yeah, and the relationship that you've had with him over the years that have developed from working with you into asparagus growing into cherry trees.
I mean, it is. It's such a nice thing to have that. If you work in London, you don't get producers; you just get somebody rock up and
from it. Kind of experience.
And you kick off at them or you don't kick off at them. But there's nothing really sort of like personal there. Whereas here, it's definitely different.
And from what you said around the mussels and harvesting them when they are ready and in their good time, it sounds as though shifts of the seasons, the climates, the weather, what kind of situation it is, does shape or impact the menu that you have.
So you allow that to happen rather than going like, oh, it's September, I'll put the mussel dish, and then all of a sudden you haven't got mussels. It just makes it a nonsense, really.
So it's more organic than that.
Yeah, you sort of change when you can, not when you should. Oh, that's probably wrong, actually.
Yeah. I know what you're trying to say. Yeah, absolutely. So it's the case that you're kind of ebbing and flowing as when nature allows you to do it rather than expecting it to be season change, therefore we move on to the next thing. Yeah. And I think that's something that probably when you are in a rural setting is something that is more in the forefront of your mind than maybe if you're in a city setting where, like you're saying, availability is always there, isn't it? So you kind of had that different level of respect for the ingredients and also the producers as well who are
and it is because you always pay like the producers when they deliver the food, because then it's not like they've got massive big bank accounts and they're living the life of luxury. So you don't want them to be suffering and going like
worrying about
having to chase money, which is a horrible thing for a producer to do.
So when sourcing quality ingredients and maintaining high customer standards, it comes with very real investment. So how do you balance the everyday practical business pressures like ingredients costs with staying true to your values around quality and sustainability?
It's part of the chef's learning, from a very early age. So I remember Marco Pierre White saying he was working in Leeds, actually, and they gave him a bag of peas to pick. And the amount of peas you get out of a bag. So it costs you this much, but you get this much peas. And it's always a thing. Your waste is, something that you always have to look at and how to sort of manage that.
And minimise it as much as possible.
But not at the cost of not using things, because otherwise that's worse, actually.
That's great. I didn't realise that was part of the education of a chef. Essentially, it's like the fiscal practicalities of being a chef, because it's not just necessarily about cooking a great plate of food, is it?
I got taught quite an early lesson. It was my first head chef's job, and my friend was opening a restaurant, and it closed within 6 months. And he'd worked at Harvey's. He was a really brilliant chef, and I thought it really doesn't matter how good you are. If you're going bust, you could be the greatest chef in the world, but
That's it.
So
you need that business
your first thing is you have to make money to stay in business, to do the thing you want.
Yeah.
After that, it's all do what you like. But that's a very simple rule.
It's the bottom line, like the hard line. Yeah.
Stay in business, and then you can do anything you want.
Be as creative and as excellent as you like.
Foie gras till it comes out. Yeah.
That makes sense. And talking of that, so food waste and spoilage, they're unavoidable in certain situations. That obviously has an impact on our businesses. So do you have any tips on your approach, or what is your approach to preserving and storing ingredients and really trying to minimise that where possible?
Well, I have a vacuum pack machine, which is a massive help. It gives you extra couple of days. And also curing. So you can cure a lot of things that will give you some extra time. But basically, you sort of buy weekly.
So small, kind of regular.
Yeah. And we're only open 4 days, so I need 4 days produce.
Which I suppose if you're operating the kitchen by yourself, you probably have to be quite organised with this stuff, but also you're the main responsible person for it. So it's not like you have multiple people.
Yeah. So like when you've got staff and they don't put the new stuff at the back, so you use the old first. That's just so frustrating when you're going, why is this out of date? Just please.
I operate the same policy at home, but it doesn't always land, I think, with the rest of the residents of the house.
Well, it won't make any difference where you are. There's always somebody.
Exactly. Exactly right. That's funny. Brilliant. And so the Neptune has a long-standing reputation for fine dining in Norfolk. How have you, especially because you've been here for nearly 20 years now, how have you seen the scene across East Anglia develop over the years, and what impact do you think it's had to kind of our local economy?
Well, I think it's improved. 20 years feels like a long time to me, but it is a short time. But when we got here, Mawson Hall was the only Michelin-starred restaurant. Galton was super helpful to us at the beginning, recommending customers to come here. But now, there's a number of not only Michelin-starred restaurants, but restaurants that are doing really, really nice food. So it's the standards risen quite. And now I don't think there's so many bad restaurants, because if they are, they don't really sort of survive.
Do they?
So it's, in that respect, it's improved greatly. But what that does is it brings more people to the area, because if it was just one place, then that's all they go to. But now there's a number of places, so there's a lot more people.
Destination,
exactly. And people always talk about, destination areas, but it is nearly always when they've a number of really good places to go to.
There has to be that critical mass there, doesn't there?
Yeah.
To think, And out of interest, with the Neptune, with your diners, what is the mix of sort of locals versus?
Well, the interesting thing about that is I often describe locals as people with second homes, and because so we were on the Isle of Wight before. In the winter, nobody came down, second home or anything. But here, they use their homes much more in the winter. So the economy is still strong throughout. Whereas if it's one of those places where we only go down on some Saturdays and the summer holidays, you do get a massive variance. So you
didn't experience those very high peaks and very low troughs that you would in other areas. And that probably helps, I suppose, to manage your expectations as a restaurant throughout the seasons as to what it is that you can expect in terms of trade and footfall. Brilliant.
It's obviously a bit less now, but not so bad.
And it's nice to hear that, when you first came to the area, that you had people like Galton supporting and recommending customers, because it's kind of what we talked about before, in the sense that when one does well, everyone does well, and so it's kind of in the interests of other restaurants that critical mass does start forming, and actually there's multiple places for people to then eat, because it becomes more habitual for people to go out and have a nice dinner. If they don't think that there's that many nice places about, they'll just stay at home, won't they? So it's quite nice that you've kind of got that support.
And I have to say, Galton was 100% influenced me in that way. Because before, if you were a chef, you hated everybody else.
Competitive.
Yeah, just they were rubbish. You could be next to Gordon Ramsay. Oh, he's rubbish. He's not. But Galton definitely changed my perspective about being more open and more helpful to other people.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably also partly like a rural mentality as well, isn't it? Like you're saying, when you're in the city, they probably have a different outlook, but out here you kind of have to look after each other, don't you?
Yeah. We're all in a little gang together.
Brilliant. And then what keeps you motivated after many years in the kitchen, and how do you define success in your work?
I don't know if sometimes I wonder if I'm motivated.
You're not motivated now. It's a job, isn't it?
I think it's ingredients. You just go, oh, that's really lovely. And just really simple things are, just when you taste something that's really good, that is, and I hope I never lose that, because that is, such a lovely thing. What was the second part?
And how do you
That's my
define
age.
success in your work?
Staying in business, I think.
Which is an incredible achievement.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's important that you shouldn't devalue just staying in business, because it's not that easy. And people coming back, the star's lovely, and I wouldn't knock it, but 100% the best thing ever is when people come back.
And you know that their experience here has had such an impact on them that they want to return.
Yeah.
So our last question we've got, so looking ahead, how do you see the Neptune continuing to evolve in terms of your produce, people, or the overall experience?
I'm in my 60s now. I don't see it evolving that greatly.
It sounds like, because you said about when you visited Thailand, or Japan, you've got these new ideas that you're bringing to the restaurants. So it does feel like you always have the...
Yeah, I don't think I'm that progressive, but I go at my own pace now, and I'm happy doing my job. I'd hate to think I'd be doing it in 10 years' time. I'd be lucky if I'd be alive in 10 years' time. But as long as I cook, I'm happy, really.